Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my second and last marquee matches reviews of the day. And in this one, I'm going to be covering the match from WWE Night of Champions 2015, the Divas Championship match. Divas champion Nikki Bella with Brie Bella and Alicia Fox ringside versus Charlotte with Becky Lynch and Paige ringside. And this edition of marquee matches too was also hosted by Charlie Caruso. And I guess I got to talk about the story behind this match. Really wasn't a lot of story, so it won't take me that long. Um, the Bella twins, also known as Team Bella, were reigning supreme in the WWE in the Divas division. You know, Nikki Bella was on the verge of becoming the longest reigning um, Divas champion in history, and she was on the verge of breaking the record originally. But then, Team Bella had been just running roughshod, beating down Paige every week and stuff like that. And Paige would try to rally all of the divas in the locker room to try to rebel against the Bella twins, but nobody was having any of it. And then Stephanie McMahon decided randomly that since there was this big women's revolution going around in sports, it was time for WWE to have their own Divas Revolution. So she called up Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks from NXT. And Sasha Banks obviously was, at the time when she was called up, the NXT Women's Champion. And what ended up happening was all these factions got formed. You had, Team Bella, which consisted of the Bella Twins and Alicia Fox. Team PCB, which consisted of Paige, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. And then you had Team Bad, which consisted of Tamina Snuka, Naomi, and Sasha Banks, who was, like I said, the NXT Women's Champion. So all of these factions would have matches against each other and things like that. We would have like NXT Women's Champion versus Divas Champion. Battleground, we had Brie Bella versus Charlotte versus Sasha Banks. And then at SummerSlam, we had a huge multi-person six-woman triple threat tag match with all the stables where Team PCP was victorious when Becky Lynch got the pinfall victory, I believe, on Brie Bella, but I don't remember exactly. That was just a piece of crap of a match, though, so I'm not really going to talk about it. So because of that Team PCP's victory, they were all individually put into a beat the clock sprint, where each of them had to beat each other's time, and Charlotte ended up, beating the time she would win her match. I believe she beat Alicia Fox. And it was going to be Charlotte versus Nikki Bella at Night of Champions for the Divas Championship. However, Charlotte wanted to prevent Nikki Bella from making history. And on Monday Night Raw, at like midnight on the Go Home show before Night of Champions, she wanted to dethrone Nikki that night. And I believe Charlotte's father, Ric Flair, was in her corner. And we had that match, and Nikki Bella ended up getting herself disqualified, keeping the championship. So Nikki Bella was going to make history. However, Stephanie McMahon came out and made the rematch where this time, if Nikki Bella got herself disqualified or counted out, she would lose the Divas Championship. And since Nikki Bella, though, was going to make history, Brie Bella and Alicia Fox on SmackDown the following Thursday tried to throw a big championship celebration, but nobody showed up to the party. And then Team PCB came in, and Charlotte said that she's going to beat Nikki for the Divas Championship. So yeah, kind of a typical Divas feud. Like I talked about before, originally the Divas Revolution didn't go very well. You had the faction war, and the Divas were still being treated about the same. So, and it was coming off that heels where we had that great NXT Championship match at NXT Takeover Brooklyn. So the main roster really wasn't doing very well with the whole Divas Revolution. But then we had this match, and it's a fine match. It's probably one of the better Diva matches we had seen for a while. Um, Charlotte ended up falling off the apron, and she ended up tweaking her knee on the way down. So the whole match really was Nikki Bella going after the injured knee of Charlotte Flair, doing good heel things like um, suplexing her multiple times into the rope, suplexing her into the turnbuckle, putting the she bent her rope back on the middle rope and hit a knee drop right onto it. She got Charlotte into the figure four leg lock, and Nikki would get her into a half Boston Crab, time in and time out. And Brie Bella and Alicia Fox tried to pull the ropes away from Charlotte so she couldn't reach them, and Nikki wasn't having any of this because she knew she was going to get disqualified. So Paige and Becky Lynch attacked Brie Bella and Alicia Fox since they were interfering. And then Charlotte started to make a comeback. She hit a stand-up neckbreaker and a big boot, but Nikki Bella kicked out of all that. And then eventually Nikki Bella went to go off the middle turnbuckle, and she got caught with a spear, and Charlotte put her in the figure eight, and Nikki Bella ended up tapping out, and Charlotte became the new Divas champion. And then she celebrated afterwards with a follow. They did the Ric Flair strut, and yeah, that's that. This is a fine match, though. Not the worst match in the world, but not one of the best matches. The Divas Revolution was still not quite there yet. I would say if I had to rate this match, I'd give it 2.5 stars. Um, and obviously though, this really isn't like much of a marquee match, but this was Charlotte's first main roster championship win because she had won the NXT Women's Championship before that. And I forgot to mention that Team Bad was watching the match backstage, and also that JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry the King Lawler were doing commentary for this match. But um, you know, pretty much this kind of set the standard bearer where you didn't really need to be pretty anymore. You didn't need to have the looks to be a champion. Charlotte wasn't that. She was just naturally talented, and obviously, um, Charlotte and Nikki would have the rematch at Hell in a Cell where Charlotte would retain the championship, and then Charlotte and Paige would start their feud, and then it became a dwindling mess when Paige mentioned Reed Flair's death, and then Charlotte turned heel, and then Paige turned face somehow. But then the Women's Revolution finally started to get on a good track when um, Charlotte and Becky Lynch had that killer match at the Royal Rumble 2016 for the Divas Championship, and then at WrestleMania 32, we had the rebranding from the Divas to the Women's Championship, and Charlotte beat Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks to win the championship. It became like the first Women's Championship and the new Women's Champion in the new era, and then Charlotte and Sasha Banks would have their feud, and would go back and forth over that championship and have the first ever Hell in a Cell, um, first ever Falls Count Anywhere match, main evented Raw for the first time since 2004. They would um, have the second ever Iron Woman match um, at Roadblock and the Line. They main evented the first ever main roster pay per view at Hell in a Cell 2016. And then obviously Charlotte would continue to have. This was the start of her pay per view undefeated streak. Well, it wasn't the start, but it was getting there, and she would lose her first match at Fastlane 2017. Then she lost the match at WrestleMania, and then she kind of floundered for a little bit, but then came back and became like a two-time SmackDown Women's Champion. And obviously this year, Becky Lynch and Charlotte are now feuding, and now she's Charlotte Flair, and they're having the second ever last woman standing match at Evolution tomorrow night. As for where, you know, Becky Lynch is, she would go on to become the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion, and kind of has floundered afterwards, and then just recently, is feuding with Charlotte right now. Paige obviously went through bad times because she would get suspended. She was in an abusive relationship, and then she finally came back and then had that career-threatening injury against Sasha, and now is the general manager of SmackDown. Team Bella, Alicia Fox is pretty much in the same spot where she doesn't really get utilized that much. Nikki Bella would get injured shortly afterwards, but then come back after the brand split, and be a part of the SmackDown Women's Division, and then would take a break after WrestleMania 33, and now is back and is going to be main event in Evolution this Sunday. Brie Bella would have a match with Charlotte at Fastlane 2016 for the Divas title, and then have her last match for a couple years at WrestleMania 32, and would win the kickoff match, and then would recently come back and is with her sister again, and Michael Cole is pretty much still the play-by-play guy in WWE, mainly Raw, since it's a brand split. Gary the Kid Lawler just is utilized in a sporadic role as commentator, and JBL is pretty much the same thing. And Charlie Caruso now works for both WWE and ESPN. So there's that. That's my thoughts on this match. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave your thoughts on what you guys thought of this match. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell. That way, every time I upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. Make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers and on the Talkinator YouTube channels. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.